Welcome to the Parrot Podcast. I'm your host, Sandra, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about conures, cockatiels, diet, and so much bird mom and bird dad stuff when it comes to our birds. We have a special guest, and her name is Alberta. She's from the Cosy Cockatiels. You can find her on Instagram. And let's welcome Alberta and get this bird party started. Block talk, block talk. Hi, Alberta. How are you?
Hey, Sandra. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on this podcast episode and talk about all bird mom things. It's been so much fun starting this podcast because now I'm just meeting and chatting with all these bird moms and I'm so excited.
Yeah, totally feel you. I mean, this is, to be honest, my first podcast, but I'm really excited as well because I've met so many great people around my birds, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow mom and discuss all the bird stuff.
I know. So tell me a little bit about yourself and tell everybody where they can find you on social media, how many birds you have, what kind of birds you have.
Sure, of course. So about ourselves, we are a flock of seven parrots. We have 6 cockatiels. Actually, we have 6 parrots, isn't it? Yeah, 6 parrots. Sorry, it's a dog. And I've been confused. 6 parrots. We have
The
5
dog's turning
cockatiels.
into a bird because he hangs out with
Yeah,
so many birds.
honestly, sometimes like the dog is a bird and the birds are a dog. It's like getting really
I
messy. But
know. It happens in our house too.
yeah, so yeah, we have 6 birds, 5 cockatiels and 1 green-cheek conure. So the cockatiels, our story began very, I would say, romantically. My dog Olin, a Shih Tzu, actually one day found a bird, a cockatiel bird,
No
and
way.
yes,
Outside?
yes. Well, it was a rainy September day, very rainy, quite cold, and suddenly the dog started to be like to bark, to feel a bit uncomfortable, and I saw in the window I couldn't see anything, but he kept like interacting with this area of the house, and I was like, what's going on? And then I opened the balcony and I realized that actually there is a bird. Like straight away I realized it's a cockatiel, but yeah, it was wet and it was cold and I literally thought it's gonna die there. So I decided to pick it up, um, brought it back to life, gave it some food, and then I started looking for its owners. For 2 months, I looked for its owners, and then
Wow.
it was,
That's a
yeah,
long time.
it's a long time. But after 2 months, I just decided the bird is going to stay. It's already part of the family. Nobody is looking for it, and that's how my love towards birds actually began. That was my first encounter with a pet bird, and it was lovely because she was such an adorable soul. Unfortunately, she is no longer with us, but like the memory of her remains, and she's literally my guardian angel. Love her so much.
Oh,
Um,
my
yeah,
heart is
so
so warm listening to that story. Oh my gosh. And she
it was
sparked your
incredible.
love for birds.
Yes, definitely. She did that, and after meeting her, I just wanted to know all about birds. I wanted to like submerge myself completely, trying to understand like what's the best for them, what they need to eat, how they need to live the best they can in like a home environment. And yeah, I started realizing how many home birds, like house birds, are mistreated. Like that made me want to know even more and wanted me to provide the best possible life to that little soul that we found. Um, yeah, and
We're gonna be best friends because you and I are the same on this.
yes, that's also so amazing because people who have birds are literally the best people I've ever met in my life. They are like the most amazing souls. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna be best friends at some point.
I know. I feel like if someone doesn't trust or love animals, then I don't know if I can trust you or if we're going to ever vibe because animals are just so cute and sweet and pure. And I feel like with pet birds and even with our dogs, they're such great companions, but they also also give us such like pure love when we give it back to them and we care for them. So I just love that.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. It's a unique feeling. And people who don't understand, who don't love animals, I think they're missing quite a lot on life. And that's something, there is something wrong with them. They need to rethink their life all over. Because yeah, but like all type of animals, they actually give us this positive vibe and make our lives fuller and more colorful, more vibrant. That's amazing, actually.
And speaking of parrots, they are so colorful and vibrant as well. So not only emotionally do we experience that with them, but visually as well. Look at Agnes over there
Absolutely.
looking all colorful and cute.
She's, yeah, they are amazing. Like their colors actually bring the mood in the house. I can see that. I can feel that. I think it's amazing. It's
There's a quote that I remember reading, and it was something about how like one's a part of your soul remains unawakened until you love an animal. And I mean, I know that there's also like moms out there, and when you have a baby, you have a totally different connection. But I don't have kids, but I have animals, and I feel like I've experienced that love. It's such a like deep and like amazing bond. But like you were saying, it's so important to just really dive into all of the information out there on your pet, because you really want to find out what's going to give them the best life and how you should be feeding them so that they're healthy and they're happy and all of these different things. And it's completely different with dogs as it is with birds. And you must know
absolutely.
that having a dog as well. Like with Lambo, he's an angel. He's like, what can I do to get a treat to make you happy, mom? Whereas Mia's like, what can you do today, mom, to make me happy? And what kind of training are we going to do so that you give me treats?
Totally the same situation here. Absolutely the same. Yeah, they are different. They are also different species. I mean, birds are more like reptiles, when like mammals have absolutely different needs. And yeah, that's incredibly important to actually understand your pets. It's the same as your kids. I mean, you don't want to have a kid and not know what to do with it when it gets sick or when something goes wrong, because it will at some point. So it's the same with pets. They are your non-human children and you want the best for them. So to be able to provide that, you definitely need to educate yourself. Otherwise, I think you're both going to suffer, like as the owner, because you're going to see your pet struggling and you're being unable to help, but also the pet itself is going to feel uncomfortable. And yeah, there's going to be like lack of communication. That definitely can be a hurdle.
Yeah, because then a lot of behavioral issues like biting and aggression and things like that start to develop. I get so many comments and DMs. Oh my gosh, she's being so funny. She's distracting me with her cuteness. I get I get so many like comments and DMs where people are like, "Oh, I just got this bird and it was tamed and friendly and now it's not," or "My bird started biting," or "My birds just became mean," or "They don't like anybody." And at the end of the day, it's up to you to do that research, to understand their behavior, to understand
Yeah.
hormones, to fix their diet, to make sure they have enrichment and foraging and all of these different things, which a lot of people, when they first get a bird, you don't understand. And when we first got Mango, I had no idea. I was like, this is amazing. We were living in Thailand at the time. I'm like, this is as tropical as it gets. Now we have a tropical parrot. But little did I know that there is so much involved. And Mango also sparked my interest and my passion for parrots. And that's when I was like, I need to learn everything that I can. And I feel like I'm constantly learning. And even though I've created all this content on all these things I've researched, I feel like I'm constantly learning. And when we connect with others, we learn from each other too.
That's absolutely true. I can't agree more. I mean, it's a constant learning process, and meeting all those amazing people, like all those amazing owners that want to provide the best for their parrots, is like actually very unique experience, because we can actually learn from each other, and because we all research, we can share our research and actually support each other to get like to that point we can provide even a better care to our pets, our parrots. Yeah, and I was amazed actually how much information like there is and how little we know about those species. And they're incredible. They're so unique. They're like so emotional. They have such a like vibrant palette of emotions and feelings, and they are being able to express them in different ways. And yes, it's important to actually get to understand what your birds want to say to you, and they are very good at actually expressing it. Same thing with when they're trying to bite you, or when they're hormonal, or when they're having like they want to eat or drink. I'm becoming like this expert mom now. When I see my birds doing something, I know what exactly they want. If they want to drink something, if they want to eat, if they want a treat, if they're just playing, if they're being naughty, because they can be naughty as well. So
Hmm.
I started to get this bond, but it doesn't come like naturally. You need to actually do a lot of study before you get there.
Yeah, I love that you said that because sometimes with like humans, you might have this like mother instinct. And sometimes even with Lambo, I feel like I have this mother instinct where I'm like, something's wrong, something's bothering you, or your tummy's upset or something. But with birds, it's so different. And even like with illness or injury, they'll try and hide it as much as they can. Like it's just, like you said, it takes so much more research and understanding, and even the species specifically. And I probably sound like a broken record because I talk about this all of the time over and over again. But speaking on learning so much about these birds, I love your salads and your food setups that you do for your birds. And I see them on Instagram all the time.
Oh, thank you.
So, very quickly, tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram, but also tell us a little bit about diet, what you feed your birds and why diet is so important.
Yeah, sure. So first, if you want to follow our story, you can follow us on Instagram. We are at the Cosy Cockatiels. Cosy because we are in Britain with S. Otherwise, like the/Cosy Cockatiels. You can follow us and find out more about our diet, our day-to-day life. Yeah, our playtime and everything, our setups. Because I think it's important to share, and I love to get ideas from like people like yourself, for example. I love your profile. I like to like understand and get ideas from there. So it's important to actually see each other and see what we are doing as bird moms. Moms and dads, sorry.
Moms and dads are welcome too, of course, all the bird dads.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but speaking of food and why it's so important, it's actually quite a complex topic. Many people believe that birds need seeds and that's it, which is absolutely wrong. That shouldn't, it's not the case. If you give your bird only seeds, it's like you're eating McDonald's all the time. Like
Or
you're eating,
donuts and
yes,
pizza. I love
exactly.
those things, but they
We
are
do.
treats,
But
you
that
know?
treats exactly the case. So when we eat like bad food, we know that we are eating bad food. But if we do that all the time, we are going to get sick. Same thing with birds. They can't eat seeds all the time because they're too fat, and they can get fat liver disease. They can get obese. They can like struggle from renal issues, etc. Therefore, I did lots of research about what birds actually need, and I understand nowadays that they need a certain amount of carbs, certain amount of proteins, certain amount of fiber, and vitamins and minerals, and all of that needs to be provided daily. So what we do is I'm trying to provide them with certain base, which is usually consists of certain veggies like carrots, some cabbage, greens, corn, and sweet pepper. These are our base. And then I add varieties every day. For instance, I can add some blueberries or some mango.
Agnes loves blueberries.
Yes, that's
So
the
does
blueberry
Mia.
addict.
So
It's the
do
conure
I.
thing.
I'm also a blueberry addict. I love blueberries and mangoes. I could live off those two fruits.
Trust me, I'm the same. I love those fruits. And actually, I love passion fruits as well. And this one loves passion fruits too. So we are like on the same page with Agnes. But yeah, it's important to give variety. And it's also very necessary to understand that your parrots are not going to eat everything. You need to observe what they like and then make a list of it. try to provide the things they like, but also try to provide new healthy things, adding them to the diet. So, and mixing it up so they can try, because they can be stubborn. And when they try, they might like it. And
Exactly.
that's what we do. So yeah, apart from the veggies and fruits, I usually add pellets. I think pellets are important, and I think pellets needs to be chosen wisely, because there are so many different type of pellets out there,
And which
and
ones do
not
you like for
we
your
love
birds?
Harrison's. Yeah,
Us
lifetime.
too.
Yeah, this is our favorite. We like tops, but it's really hard to get them here in the UK. Usually they're out of stock, so it's whenever I can, I get them, but it's a bit hard. Maybe somebody
Yeah.
can hear us and like fix this issue. That will be awesome. But
Actually, I order Harrison's as well, but actually I found out that Harrison's, they're not actually pellets, they're called nuggets because they go through a completely different process than pellets do. So Harrison's actually refers to them, and they're like little small circular, whereas the tops ones, they're more like longer and oval. But
yeah.
I find that Mango and Mia aren't too crazy about the tops ones. I know they're really healthy. They're cold pressed, they're organic, all these good things. So if your bird loves them and eats them, yes. But Harrison's is also really great. I love their nuggets for our birds because they're healthy and they love to munch on these things. They just munch away all the time on Harrison's. It's never an issue.
Yes, same here, to be honest. My parents, all of them love Harrison's. I can give them just pellets like for a snack, and they're absolutely fine just eating them like that, which is not the
Yeah.
case with any other pellets that we've tried. So I definitely recommend them. In terms of quality and what I've researched, it seems that they're currently like on the top, one of the best solutions. Um, and yeah, for those owners who wonder whether what they should give is like a hard food, it's better to give pellets rather than just seeds, because they already have all the necessary stuff inside of them. Of course, you can put some seeds, but what I like to do is prepare my own seed mix. I don't really like to buy a seed mix from the shop and just give it like as it is. I usually remove the fat seeds like sunflower or safflower seeds. I remove them, and then I add fennel seeds. I add star anise. I've add like some milk thistle, stuff like this that are actually good, and
Healthy
you can
seeds.
also exactly healthy seeds, some oat grounds, stuff that actually gives some value to your bird, because you can of course always provide a sunflower seed to your bird as a treat for something good that they did, to as a positive reinforcement, but yeah, not really as a food. And yeah, so I sprinkle on top some seeds, some flowers. Actually, that's an important topic. Many own pet parrot owners, don't realize that their parrots can eat flowers, and actually flowers are really good for them. So of
And they
course
look
you need
so
to
pretty too.
and they do look pretty, and they smell very nicely. She loves roses, and I
Oh,
got her rose buds.
Agnes, you're
And
a little rose. Actually, before I forget, yesterday and today I've been sniffing Mia and she smells like these beautiful bunches of roses. And I'm like, Mia, what
oh,
have you done? Why do you smell so delectable? And I've just been like inhaling her. And my husband's like, what are you doing? Every time he like walks by, I'm like, with the bird.
I do the same thing, and my husband totally thinks I'm crazy, but that's a different topic. But they do smell really nice. I mean, after they eat something nice, they do
Oh
smell
my
so
gosh,
nice.
stop when she eats like some blueberries or something. Sometimes when she eats broccoli, like raw broccoli, I'm like, you smell like a broccoli farm. No.
They do.
But usually she smells really good. Or like berries when she smells like
Mm.
strawberries. I'm like, I'm going to
Yep.
eat like an ice cream.
Yep, exactly. And the funny thing about conures is that they actually are like ice creams. You
Yeah.
can just like hold them like that and just sniff them, and they're absolutely fine with it. You will never be able to do this with a cockatiel. Maybe with a very, very, very tame cockatiel, but I've never met a cockatiel owner who can actually hold their cockatiel like in this.
Really? Okay, I want to know more about these cockatiels. But before we leave the topic of seeds, back on the seeds, like you were saying, we need to make sure we're not saying no seeds at all in the diet. We're saying seeds
True.
in moderation, healthy seeds, making your
Yeah.
own seed mixes, or choosing seed mixes that you can buy where you check the ingredients and you're like, these are really good. These are really healthy. And there's no safflower or sunflower seeds because I'm going to save those for treats. So we do want
Yeah.
some seed and some fat in the diet, just like wheat. We eat avocados and wheat nuts and things like that, unless you have allergies like me. So I have nuts in the house, but they're all for Mia.
Yeah. Same thing here.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. Yes.
No way. You have a nut
Yes.
allergy? Which nuts are you allergic to?
I have no idea. I don't want to experiment. I know that I'm allergic to some of them and I'm trying to avoid them all.
Me too. Oh my gosh. My ones that I know 100% that I'm allergic to are hazelnuts, pine nuts, and walnuts. And so I just stay away from all nuts except for peanuts because I've never had an issue with peanut butter.
No.
And I love peanut butter. It's just so good.
Do you give your dog peanut butter?
I give him peanut butter sometimes, but I don't give it to him like every single day. But like sometimes if I'm making him like a Kong or like a licky
Yeah.
nut or something, we'll do like a little peanut butter, a little natural yogurt, or some
Yeah, we
pumpkin
do that too.
puree. And he loves it. But it's so funny when I give him peanut butter and he's like smacking his tongue. He's like, for like
Yep.
5 minutes.
Yeah, that's the best part. I think it's the best photos like are
Yeah.
done during this time. That's amazing.
That's when you take the professional camera out and you're like, yes.
And your dog is like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, I'm the paparazzi.
Yeah.
But my pets are used to that. They just have the camera on in their face all day long. I'm like, I'm sorry. My whole phone space is always full because I have too many photos and videos. And then I go through the photos and videos. I'm like, oh, it's all Mia, Mango, and Lambo. I can't delete any of these. So I'm like, let me
Absolutely.
delete an app. Let me delete my messages.
Yeah. Pet and bird mom problems. I think I'm the same. Was absolutely the same. My whole phone is with like pets, with birds and dog, and that's it. And it's funny that they are also used to the camera, so they actually don't mind it. I can actually put it into their face, and they're like, "Whatever, do I don't
Yeah,
know
do
what
what
you're
you
doing,
want,
human."
mom.
Yeah.
But it's funny because
Um,
Mia is usually okay. Lambo doesn't care, but Mia sometimes when she's in a mood, and that's why it's important to get to know your bird and their personality. She's like, get that camera out of my face. And she gets all puffed up and angry. And she's like, I'm gonna get it.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, no pictures today or for this hour.
Absolutely. So yeah, back to the seeds. I think exactly how you put it, like how you summarized it. That's absolutely true. You can provide seeds. Seeds are good, like in small amounts. Like for us, we can give some chia seeds, some sesame. Yeah, different type of seeds are actually quite good for our parrots. It's just the quantity they need to be provided. I also like to like put some sort of a scale. So I usually give them about 10% of their diet is seeds. Again, not fat seeds, just healthy seeds. But yeah, I'm trying to give a 10% from what I give them daily in seeds. Then most of their food is veggies. I'm trying to give 50% of their food is veggies.
Mhm.
Then they have pellets, about 20%, and everything else, like a small amount of nuts or flowers and stuff like this. Also supplements. I don't give them always supplements, but it's also good to mix supplements sometimes, especially when they have like molting
Mhm.
or they're like laying eggs or might have
Hormonal.
hormonal or being under the weather. You can always we all have that. So you can definitely add some calcium, some what's it, probiotics, sorry,
Yeah.
some digestive support. It's good. But
There's even molting support
yep,
supplements. There's herbal teas like avian teas as well that you can offer your bird to help with all these different things. So if someone is listening and Agnes, you're so cute. I can't handle it. I can't handle conures. They are so cute to me. Their little faces. Their little faces are the best thing I've ever seen. I can't. Okay, if
They
someone
are
is
true.
listening and they're like, "Oh, I have a conure or a cockatiel and I want to do what Alberta is doing. I want to give 10% of healthy seeds." How would they measure that on the scale? So, how do you measure 10% is this many grams? This is how many seeds I'm going to give them today.
Right. So it always is it's a hard topic actually, but there is a good guidance. You can find it online, and I'm more than happy to share it actually on my Instagram page. How you need to feed your bird, because every bird is unique and they have their own weight and preferences, and
Mm-hmm.
it's important to measure their weight daily, not only because it's an indicator for health issues, but also
Mm-hmm.
because you can actually know how much food they need by measuring their like weight. For instance, if your cockatiel weighs about like 100 grams for the easiness of calculations, you need to provide them about pretty much the same amount or same quantity of food in calories. So it's about 120 calories. And then you can actually do the maths. And I usually use an app called My Fitness to see how many calories
My Fitness
there
Pal?
are. Yeah, My Fitness Pal, that's the
You
one.
use it for your birds? I love that.
Yeah. I'm using it to check how many calories each ingredient has. And then I can do the maths and basically see how much I can give them food. But I also multiply this by 6. And then that's how I do it for my birds. Um, of course, the best way to do it is to do your research to see what is the recommendation for your birds, because as I mentioned, all birds are different. But yeah, it's connected with your weight or with the bird's weight, and you can do the math super easily and give them the right amount. For instance, what I usually do is I weight the veggies. I'm like seeing how much veggies I'm giving them, and then I calculate because this is a 50%. So I calculate what is going to be the 10% of the whole meal based on the veggies, and then I giving it to like putting it into the into the chop. Sorry, like Agnes is distracting me, and I can't concentrate and gather my thoughts. Agnes, that's your fault. Yes.
But we forgive her because she's so cute.
He's cute, yes.
Yeah.
That's her main power.
Mia's too. That's why she gets away with everything. Back to the diet. So I know that you were mentioning also that we have to weigh our birds regularly and then we'll know how much to feed them. And we also need to pay attention to how much food like we're giving them and how much they're actually consuming. And it's also important to note that birds are constantly munching throughout the day because they're pooping like every 15 to 20 minutes. So their digestive systems work completely differently and they're constantly digesting. So they're going to be hungry more than just in the morning. So it's always good to have food available for them so that when they do get hungry, they can eat. And we also need to be checking their poops all the time because
Sure.
just like you mentioned with weight, that's usually one of the first indicators is if they're losing weight or if their poops start to look funny or they smell or they look like diarrhea or weird colors. Although the colors can be different depending on diet and what they're eating. I got a little Zoom pop up. So yeah, it just depends on what they're eating because their poops can sometimes be different colors based on if they've eaten seeds or pellets or red peppers or blueberries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if your bird ate blueberries and then they poop like this dark blue, don't freak out. It's probably the blueberries. But we have to
Yep.
also be attentive to, is this a red pepper poop or is this blood in the poop?
Yep.
So there's so many things with birds. So
There
many
are so
things.
many things, absolutely, and that's a very important topic. The poop is probably one of the like most important things to observe when you're having a bird, because
I
you're
feel like a
right.
poop
They
inspector. Every day I'm like inspecting her poop throughout the day. In the morning, I'm like, is that a normal morning poop? Yes.
Yep.
What did you just eat? Why is it this color? Oh, okay, everything's fine.
Exactly. I also have a microscope. I'm checking it, like
Oh
I'm
my
making wet beds and checking it under the microscope quite regularly because,
I need
yeah,
a picture of you with the microscope looking at bird poop, please.
I will send you one. Definitely will do. Absolutely. But yeah, it's important because actually sometimes what I figure out is you getting this smelly poop, for instance. What does this mean? Because if the poop's smelly, it usually indicates that there are some bacteria or fungi that is like,
Fungi,
yeah,
yeah,
that is
fungi,
exactly, yeah, whatever it's called.
fungi. I don't know.
Many
Everybody
people
gets
call
it.
it different. Exactly, yeah. So there can be some parasites or anything in the poop that,
Experienced smelly poop.
yes, I have. This is why I have a microscope.
Oh my gosh, I've never. I would freak out. What happened?
So at some point, this little creature, Agnes, had smelly poops. They had like this cheesy type of smell, which freaked me out. And yes,
As a
I had
bird mom, you
to.
would.
I definitely would. Every bird mom would freak out at that. So what we did is we went to the vets. They didn't see anything. They didn't
Did you
really
bring them a
even.
poop sample?
Yes, I brought them a poop sample. They didn't want to take it to the lab. They said, "Oh yeah, the bird is healthy." And I was like, "Something is wrong." So I took the microscope and actually did some testing, and I found out that there is microbacteria,
Are
which
you a
is
scientist or something?
not. I'm just like a very well educated bird mom.
Are you a
No,
science nerd?
I'm a science nerd. That's exactly.
I know
You
everything
got me.
now. Oh my gosh. So tell me what happened next.
So next, I realized it's a microbacteria. I needed to get her some antibacterial medicine to actually clean the poop. I wasn't ready to give her antibiotics straight away because I wanted to see how it's going to react. So pau bark or pau darku bark is very good for
Where do you
that
buy
case.
it?
You can get it in any parrot store. In UK, I got
Mm,
it from scarletparrots.co.uk. I'm pretty sure it's all over, like all the bird stores. You don't need a
yeah,
prescription for
okay.
that.
But we
But
should just jump in and say that it's always good to check with an avian vet because not everybody
true.
is going to have the same science background as you or bird
Mhm.
backgrounds as either of us. So you should never diagnose your own bird if you don't have the experience.
No, exactly, absolutely true. And even myself, I did like ask my avian vets about it because I
Mhm.
sent them the pictures. I found out under the microscope. I
Good
sent
for
them my
you for
concerns.
investigating when they said no, it's fine.
Exactly.
We have that intuition where we know something is going on with my baby.
And that this is why basically I've decided to send them all the pictures. I've decided to send them all my concerns, what I think it is. They confirmed the diagnosis. I was like, okay, do you think that my methods are all right? They're like, yeah, give them also probiotics. I wasn't sure about the probiotics at the stage when you're trying to treat the bacteria
Hmm.
because sometimes bacteria doesn't like sugar and all probiotics do have sugars. I mean, the bacteria likes the sugar and starts to
Hmm.
multiply
Right.
like quite faster. But yeah, I went with the powder. It actually did help. I realized I started to remove like veggies stuff, giving for a little while more like food that doesn't actually have any of that danger to build up bacteria.
Hmm.
It went well. It all went well. Thankfully, all went well, and the bacteria was gone, and we don't have this issue any longer.
So how long did it take for you to clear it up?
About 2.5 weeks, maybe three, something like this.
And was this recent or was this a long time ago?
It was about 6, 7 months ago. I don't really
Wow.
remember exactly when, but it feels like 6, 7 months ago.
Yeah. And so when you were removing foods because you didn't want more bacteria, what foods were you feeding? Like what did her diet consist of for those 2.5 weeks?
Yeah, mainly pellets. I stuck to the pellets. I gave her occasionally some apples, but I removed them straight away. Actually, this is a good advice that I can give is don't keep wet food for a long time. I mean, by wet food, I mean like veggies and apples, especially during the warm weather, they can build up
Hmm.
bacteria. Same with the water, change it as often as you can. Give it in small portions. Like let's the bird eat it all fast and then add some more rather than just giving a large portion where it stays for like hours, and then it builds up bacteria that gets into GI tract of the bird and then affects its health.
Yeah, that's really good
So
advice. I love that you mentioned that,
it's
especially
important.
during the summer, because now it's like hot all the time or it's muggy. The weather changes all the time. We've been having like rain and then hot and then it's cool. So it changes. But in the summer months, it's definitely something to think about and be more cautious about.
Exactly. That's that. And if you're sprouting, for instance, then make sure like you're doing it correctly. And in the
Hmm.
summer, it's better to avoid it because, again, the buildup of bacteria due to the heat. So that's what we are doing, because in the winter we love sprouts. Yes, but because here we don't have an aircon, it's quite warm, and yeah, I'm not risking it. I prefer to stay on the safe side. So with the Agnes's case, we just went for pellets diet with a bit of seeds and treats with some fruits and veg, but as a treat more rather than like full diet. And it actually all went well. I just wanted to make sure that I'm not giving sugars that will feed those bacteria to spread and to multiply faster. Yeah,
Oh, you're such
that's
a
pretty
good
much.
bird mom. Well done.
Oh,
And
thank
she's been
you.
all good ever since.
Ever since.
Oh, Agnes, I'm so happy, you little cutie. Where'd she go?
She is on the other side of my computer trying to take off
Okay.
my stickers from the computer, so we're getting back some.
So tell me a little bit about what it's like having cockatiels and a conure. Does Agnes get along with the other 5 cockatiels? And what do you find are like the big differences that you notice between the two bird species?
Right. They are actually quite different. And in terms of whether she gets along with them, that's a very complex story, because she gets along very well with some of them. She doesn't
Oh.
tolerate some of them too. So the thing is, we have like a pair of cockatiels that is a bonded pair. It's Humus and Irulan. They're a pair. They had eggs, and we decided to let them have their kids. So 3 of the cockatiels are their own children, and there
Cute. I
is this.
didn't know that.
Really, you didn't? Yeah. So they were born last October. Well, hatched. They hatched last October, and yeah, and they're so funny because
So
you can
you
actually.
helped them raise these baby birds. We have
Yes, I
to do
was
a whole
co-parenting.
other episode all about baby birds because there are questions on this topic all of the time. But
I would
we'll
be.
save that for another day.
Yes, that would be lovely, definitely. Also, you can see the whole story in our highlights on my Instagram page. There is going to be Burbling stories, part 1, part 2, part 3, all from their hatching towards them becoming adults. So yeah, and the thing is, this little girl, I have her since she was really young, three weeks old. So she was still a baby, and Irulan, my female cockatiel, she actually helped raising her, because I was feeding her with a syringe. She didn't have parents that could feed her.
And
So
she's
I
a
had
green
to.
cheek conure.
She's a green cheek conure, and I had to actually, the conure I needed to wean her. Irulan, the cockatiel, actually helped me with that by feeding her some blueberries, some corn, putting it into her mouth. It was hilarious to watch. I have a video somewhere. I'll send it to you later. But it literally was so nice. So they have a special bond. Her and Irulan, they are good friends. They can hang out together without any problem.
That's so
And
sweet.
Humus, the male cockatiel, he
He's
is
your
adopted.
rescue, right?
Is my rescue. That's
From
correct. Yes,
Germany.
from Germany,
I
from Munich.
remember.
Yes, he is. He is such a sweetheart. He was abandoned and was missing some feathers, and I couldn't just leave him there. I had to adopt him. So he's my rescue. He was scared, terrified of anything, of people, of hands. He was screaming. He was like one of those birds that was screaming from absolutely everything. I couldn't actually put him into the cage, so I had to lure him to the cage every
Yeah.
single evening. But But today
Mhm.
he is absolutely fine. I can take him, he can step up, I can actually give him some screeches and he enjoys it. So that's back to the point that when you understand your bird, you can actually build a bond with it,
Yeah.
which
At no matter what age and no matter what situation, circumstances, whether they're a rescue or not, every bird is
exactly
trainable. It just takes,
every bird
the
is trained.
education and the time and the patience because we have to be consistent with birds.
Exactly. Dedication. That's it. Because
Yeah,
sometimes you're like, you want to flip the table and you're like, I'm trying everything and it doesn't work. It will work. You just need to stick with it. That's the most
exactly.
important.
I love
Uh,
that you said that because I think that those words are going to be really uplifting and inspiring to so many people that are listening that are like, I'm struggling with my bird or my rescue, or I just got a bird and now, they're biting. Is there hope? There is hope.
there is hope. There is no untrainable bird. That's 100% sure. There are going to be hard moments when the bird doesn't want to collaborate, but still, if you're sticking to your routine, if you're being dedicated, if you really want to see results, just don't give up. Even if it doesn't work now, just try it later, try it again until the birds get it. And then when you win the bird's trust, it's going to be so rewarding. It's literally the best thing ever.
I know it's so cute.
They are such a cuties. And yeah, so Humus and her, they don't have a relationship, but they don't hate each other. So they're like well together. They can coexist without any type of conflict. Just walk around and do their own stuff without interacting, but without even like attacking each other or something. So that's the easiest. But the beerblinks, how I call them, our little ones, they are different story because they appeared after like she was already part of our family, and that's probably made her a bit jealous. Um,
Oh,
so she's not being aggressive towards them, but she likes to chase them around. So I never let her unsupervised with them because I don't want to like cause any injuries by non-supervising them. No matter how much you trust your birds, if they're from different species, it's better to like keep an eye on them.
yeah, they're like flying toddlers. So I feel like they have to be supervised all of the time. And even like right now, I wanted to bring Mia out, but I told you she had a bath, so she's all wet. Now she's under her light drying and she's taking a nap. So I'm like, I'm not going to bring her out, even though, she's being so cute over there. But if she starts flying around somewhere and I get distracted and I don't pay attention to her, I don't want something to happen. And whenever
Exactly.
she's out, I'm always making sure like I know where she is and I know where she's doing so that we can avoid any types of accidents. And when
Yes,
you have more
definitely.
than one bird, especially if when they don't get along, yeah, I would do the same because you don't want to like have to break up a bird fight.
And it can happen really fast, and somebody can lose a finger or two. That can do because their beaks are quite strong and their little fingers are very gentle, and accidents do happen. And if you want to avoid any accidents, it's best to keep them supervised. I have a bird room, so I let them out freely to roam around. But I usually work from from the bird room, so whenever I don't have meetings, of course, so that it makes it a bit easier for me to like spot if something is going wrong and correct the behavior.
Yeah.
But it's definitely my recommendation to never like just let the birds on their own. They will eat something they don't need to eat, even if it's like a super safe room. They will eat the wall. They will
Yeah.
start like doing
They'll
random
try and
stuff.
destroy anything that they're not allowed to.
Exactly. Yeah, you can put like all the toys inside and they're still going to destroy the wall. So don't
Yeah.
it's better to like watch that because you don't want any accidents or incidents. Um yeah, so the main difference I find between the cockatiels and the conure is that cockatiels are more independent. They like to do their stuff on their own. They like attention. Every single time I'm coming in the like in the room or in their vision, they're starting to fly towards me, to perch on my shoulder, on my head. They want attention, of course. Uh, but still, there's somehow I feel that cockatiels are a bit more like by themselves. They like
They're more independent.
Independent, exactly. They like
Would
to
you
do
say that conures are more social? Like they want to be part of
with
everything that's
him.
going on?
Absolutely, part of absolutely everything that's going on. With cockatiels, they're super curious. Like we had an accident with Humus who fell behind the fridge, and so because of curiosity, not because of anything else,
What?
he was so.
Hummus, what are you doing?
So that's why you need to supervise your birds all the time.
Yeah.
We literally left him for 1 second, and he was so curious what's going on and like behind the fridge that he jumped
Oh my
there in
God.
the like middle of nothing. So I had to pull him off with a ladder, but that's a different story. He was well. Like I
Yeah.
had probably 17 panic attacks while I was doing this because I thought
Yeah.
that he's gonna suffocate there or something.
Yeah.
Don't let your birds thinking they're all right. They're curious and they will jump. They will
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah, they have to be supervised. It's like having kids. And if you can't supervise them, then that's why we have these big cages that we put all these beautiful toys and spend all this money on perches and foraging and all this stuff so that they have somewhere to be where they can be in a safe space when you're not able to supervise them.
Absolutely, yes, exactly. So yeah, they are all curious. Birds are curious, like they
Yeah.
have curious nature. However, they still like cockatiels are a bit scaredy cats. They
Oh,
like
really?
to, yes, they are
I've
curious.
heard
Super,
this. Actually,
really.
Sophie was also telling me that her cockatiels get a lot of night frights. Like they get scared.
They do get scared. Mine had a couple of times night frights, like since I have them.
Oh.
But yeah, they do get scared of random things. And it's very hilarious because you like seeing a very curious bird with the same time super scared. And it's like, how does it work? I don't
You're
even
so curious,
understand.
but you're so scared.
Exactly. Yeah. When conures are more social, they want to be part of absolutely everything. She doesn't like quarrels. If some of the other birds have a quarrel, she comes in like all
She's
the
like,
alpha.
what's going on over here?
What's going on? I'm
No,
gonna
no, no.
fight you. Yeah, exactly. She likes to sit on the dog all the time, to preen the dog, to swim in the dog ears, some like this, stuff like this. She likes to like be with us, with me and my husband, just to hold her. It's as
Yeah.
you can see, I'm holding her during this interview, and
Yeah.
literally, this bird
Mia
just
does
likes
the
to be part
exact
of.
same thing. And if she's not with us, that's when she'll sometimes start to scream. But she has a very specific scream. And I already know that's her scream that she has FOMO. She's like, what am I missing out on? I want to be there. I want to know what's going on. What are you guys doing? I have to see everything.
Same thing with her. So yeah, that's very big difference because cockatiels can be all right on their own. They can come occasionally to see what's going on, but it's not like this curious conure. Conures are more social. They like attention. They like to be part of everything. They like to sit in your hands. They like to just
I
try
find them
your
to be
food.
very cuddly, like
They're
very
super
affectionate. Do
cuddly.
you find that with Agnes as well?
Yes, that's the most affectionate bird. If it was safe, she would sleep probably with me during the nights because she
But it's
loves
not
to
safe. For
cuddle.
anybody
It's
listening,
not
it is
safe.
not safe.
Don't do
You
that.
can
You can,
suffocate your bird. Do not sleep with them in
yes,
your bed.
nope, never do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, they are super cuddly. You need to be careful. Never sleep with your birds.
We also have to be careful with how we, canoodle them because sometimes people don't realize that if we touch them in certain areas, it can trigger hormones, or we can signal to them that I'm your mate if we're being overly affectionate or affectionate in the wrong areas. But Mia does
Yeah.
the same thing. She loves to be held, and sometimes I'll be working and she'll just crawl down and go into my hand by herself. And I'm like, Mia,
They,
how am I supposed to use my laptop, drink a smoothie, use my phone, my keyboard, and my mouse with only one hand? But I do it.
yeah, you don't have a choice. That's what they do. Literally, I'm having a joke with my husband that I don't know how she materializes in my hand. I usually just working and suddenly I'm holding a conure like this, and I like,
Me too. I'm
what's
like,
going
where
on?
did you come from?
Yes, exactly. I was just like typing 3 seconds ago. How did you how did you come up here? Like, so that's the magic with conures. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There are certain areas that you need to avoid to touch, and like holding your bird is fine. I mean, you're like touching her wings, etc., but it's a holding. That's a different story. When you're petting, you need to pet only the head area, the nose and beak, but don't go towards the body.
The
Because
neck
they
is
have
okay where they have,
neck is
sometimes they need
okay.
help. Yeah. With pin
Yes,
feathers.
avoid the back. Back
Yeah.
is and feather, like the back and the wing area. That's when like the area they use when they mate.
Yeah.
They
And
stand
we
on
don't
each
want to
other.
stroke it or pet it. But, when we're holding them, we always hold them like really gently. Like
Yes,
they're
exactly.
like you would hold an ice cream, I guess. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you an ice cream, Agnes? Yeah, you're an ice cream.
A
She's an ice
delicious, cute
cream.
little ice cream. I wanted to
She's
quickly ask you, which type of bird would you say has a harder bite? The conure or the cockatiel?
the conure. That's the
Mm,
menace.
they
That's
have
like
the strength in those beaks because I always see the
they
cockatiel beaks.
do.
They're like little and like more pointed. And I'm like, I wonder if their bites hurt as much as the conures. Now we know.
No. Yes. I think nothing can be compared to a bite from a conure. These ones are literally so strong. I have no idea where they find the strength. But my fingers, I don't have any fingers anymore. I mean, like I have so many holes on my fingers. I'm like, why? Why are you doing this?
And that's also why it's important to like learn about these behaviors because conures can be nippy, they can
Can.
bite. And I even noticed with Mia, like just random things might make her mad. Like when she sees
Yep.
my mascara, like the tube, she's like, that's it, it's over. So I can never do my mascara with her around where Mango did not care. Or we have a whiteboard in the kitchen, and whenever I open the marker, she
Yep.
just comes swooping. She's ready to attack the marker. And I'm like, why? But
Exactly. Yeah.
conures can
Agnes
be
is the
like
same.
that.
Exactly. They can like some weird stuff can trigger their behavior. I have those jars with like a strap. I don't know how it's called.
Yeah,
It's basically
the
with a
like
metal
clip-on
thingy.
ones
The
from
clipper,
IKEA.
yeah. Exactly. Those jars from IKEA. She hates it when I'm opening. And the thing is, her treats are inside that. We have some nutri berries inside it. And she wants the treat. She's like knocking on the jar. But when I'm starting opening it, she fluffs and like starts to fight me and bites my fingers. I was like, how it's supposed to work? I mean, like, how are you supposed to get treats if I don't open the jar?
Exactly. They're
So
so funny, but I mean, they must have some reason to their madness. But we have to also just kind of accept that some of these things make them angry. I just try to avoid it. If I'm like, I need to do my makeup, I'm like, Mia, you stay over here. I'm going to the bathroom to do my mascara.
yeah, it's important. Yeah, it's important to understand that all the breeds have their own characters, and maybe each bird is different, but there's still some things that are common.
We can really differentiate between you telling me between cockatiels and conures. We're like, okay, they all are individual birds with their own funny personalities. But at the same, she's so silly. I can't. I love it. Oh my gosh, Agnes, you're so funny. But at the same time, certain species have those certain characteristics. One more when it comes to characteristics. Who's louder, conures or cockatiels?
Cockatiels,
Really?
definitely.
Is
Cockatiels
it
are
because there's
definitely.
5 of them though? If it was
No,
one on one.
there is like one cockatiel that shouts. Like when he shouts, I need like to hide somewhere because seriously, like I am so surprised that a small cockatiel can like have so much voice power. When
Wow.
conures, they can shout. You know the scream they do when they want to get out or when they're scared. It's like quite
Yeah.
loud,
Yeah.
but still, it's like an occasional thing that
Yeah. It doesn't
doesn't
happen
happen
all the
all the
time.
time. But like for the cockatiel, that's he's singing, and when he sings, it's like crazy. You literally need some earplugs. So
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that is a very peculiar difference because I didn't know that cockatiels like to sing and they just like think they're songbirds.
they can sing, that's true, and
Yeah.
some of them can pick up nice songs to sing. Some of
Cute.
them, however, can pick some absolutely like I don't know what they even pick up because it can't be a song, but mine managed to actually pick up some songs that are ridiculous. I don't know where they found them, but it sounds like a car alarm from the 90s, and it's like shouting, you know. I'm like, what? How do you manage to pick up this out of everything? And I literally put
Oh
all
my
type of songs to
gosh.
them to learn, and they learned the most ridiculous one. And yeah, and when all three, because for cockatiels only the males sing, females don't sing.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So when all three of my males sing together, it's like a madhouse. I
Oh
swear
my
it's like a mad.
gosh. And are you in
But
a house or an apartment?
we are in an apartment.
So do your neighbors all know that you have birds?
Well, I presume they do. I presume they suspect we do. or perhaps think that we are crazy and we just like to shout that stuff.
Oh my gosh. That's so great. How did you get
Mhm.
Agnes then?
Right. Agnes was a gift to me from a lovely lady. So one day she just came with her and said, well, this little girl doesn't have parents, so she needs weaning. If you want to, I can leave her with you. And I always dreamt about a conure. I don't know if you know the Instagram profile of Peaches. No, I used to follow her. I think they're somewhere in Texas, I believe, or might be wrong, but somewhere in America. So I
Mhm.
literally loved her because she was so cute. And I always dreamt to have a conure. And like this lady just came with a conure, and I was like, oh my God, it's conure.
But
And I
this lady found this conure, or like how did she get this conure, or did she specifically go and buy it for you?
no, well, she was a breeder, but she didn't
Mm.
know how to actually treat them because it was left by the parents quite early. And
Oh,
yeah, and nobody was feeding it. Basically, it would
oh.
have died if
So you
yeah.
saved Agnes. Oh my gosh, stop. I love all whoops. I love all of your stories. They're like so heartwarming with all of your birds and how you got them. So cute. Hearts.
Thank you. You're very kind. Yeah, so basically the thing with the birds, when we get him, so Humus, as I told you, is rescued from Germany. He was rescued also because I was looking for a male for my Arwin. Arwin was my first cockatiel that I told you the story about. I didn't want her to be on her own, so I needed to get her a friend. And I was looking to rescue one, never found the right one. And then when I saw Humus, I thought, okay, that was going to be the guy. And she hated him.
Oh my
So
gosh. I was not expecting that. I thought it was going to be like, and she loved him. And
she hated him. He was begging for scratches, and she was literally like pecking him on the
oh,
head. So poor thing. And
this
he
needs to
loves
be like a rom-com movie about like a burb romance.
burp romance.
How that
That's
the story from beginning to end, and then like eventually getting married and having babies. Oh
crazy.
my
Yeah. So basically, yeah, she hated him. She literally pecked him on the head, and so I had to supervise all of this. But he got really attached to Arwen. He was literally like so in love, always like
oh,
cleaning her, singing to her, like
oh my
being very,
God,
very
what a
nice.
romantic guy.
He's the most romantic guy I ever met.
So
Seriously.
cute. So romantic
And
guys do exist.
yes, they do. And unfortunately, in a bird form, but they do exist. There is a hope. So the thing is, he took her loss very seriously. She basically died of a heart failure, might be of an old age. That's what the doctors suspected. Because
Oh,
I didn't know how old is she when I got her.
yeah.
And yeah, she started to have like issues with flying, um
Oh,
getting tired really quickly. And yeah, unfortunately, when she passed away, Humus was heartbroken. He was literally crying. For the first time, I didn't know that birds can cry. It wasn't with tears, how humans do, but the song, the behavior, everything. Like he was so sad. I could feel it literally,
Oh
his
my
sadness.
God, I feel it. My heart.
Oh,
Oh my God.
yeah, such a cutie. And he was brokenhearted, so I thought he can't live on his own. He needs a friend. That's when I got Irulan. So the Irulan actually came from the same lady that gave me the Agnes, the little Agnes, this dinosaur. So yes, and first reaction of Humus, we brought Irulan home, and everything was well. First reaction when he saw her was to scream like crazy. I never heard a bird screaming like this. He screamed like a huge parrot, like macaw or something, like such a strong voice. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? He was so shocked because Irulan was and still is like a bit like a large lady, let's say. She is round and she weighs more than everyone. But she used to sit in the middle of
She's
the
got
bowl
big
with
hips
food.
and they don't lie.
Exactly, yes. And she like loved her curves, and she used to sit inside of the like bowl with food inside in the middle and ate around her all the food just spinning around on her belly. So she used to do that, and Humus was terrified. To be honest, I was a bit terrified. I was like, what a monster we got. But she appeared to be actually quite a cute monster. So yeah, apart from her walking around all orange because of the carrots, she lied in the carrots and like basically becoming orange. And I was like, all right. But
well, are you a bird?
are you a bird? Yes, she didn't know how to bird.
Do you know how to bird? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
It was literally hilarious. And yeah, but then she actually learned how to, eventually she learned how to bird, and Humus really liked her. She liked Humus, so they became a bonded pair, and they lived happily ever after.
Oh, he found love again. I'm so happy.
Yeah, he found love
So
again.
cute.
He's really happy, and he just likes to walk after her. Whenever she goes anywhere, he's just like
He
follows like a
is a
magnet.
romantic. He
He
gets
is.
his lady and he's like, I'm committed. I am loyal. I love you. Whatever you need. What a great guy.
He is, and he's an amazing dad. You know what was surprising for me is that
Stop. What?
when they had babies, he was the one that sat on the eggs all the time. Irulan was just like walking around. I'm just gonna have like some fun, some me time all day long. And Humus was sitting all day long on the eggs. She
Humus gets
never
the bird
said.
award of the year. He's the
He
bird
does.
dad of the year, like actual bird, not human bird dad. He's the most romantic bird of the year. He's the bird husband of the year.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
gosh, all
That's
these
all
brownie
about him.
points. What a cutie.
He is. He's such a sweetheart. I mean, seriously, he's very gentle, and it was incredible to watch him feed the babies, always trying to like find them food, bring it to them. He was amazing. Irulan was like, literally, I have nothing to do with.
I'm the mother. I'm gonna go get my nails done. I need to go have a
Exactly.
snack. I'm gonna go poop over there. I'm gonna see if I can see something out the window.
Yeah, that was her concerns, and Humus was the one who actually raised the children,
Oh
which
my
is
gosh.
incredible. It was so
Wow.
cool.
I love that. And birds are so cute and funny, but it's also so important for a lot of people that might be listening to remember that if you get a cockatiel, doesn't mean that he's going to be like Humus. Or if you get a conure, just like Agnes, it's not going to be just like Agnes or just like Mia because every bird is different. And some birds might be more cuddly or more social or less. So it just really depends because each bird also has their personalities. Like
Yes.
Humus is so sweet, and then his wife is like,
Whatever.
whatever. I'm just gonna go over here. You do all the things, honey.
Exactly. And it's very interesting because they had three children. They have three children, and
Mhm.
all three of them are super different. They were raised the same, and they like literally grew up in the same environment. They have completely different characters. One of them, Eli, is super cuddly. He loves me. He loves to like perch on my shoulder, spend time with me, sleep on my shoulder, just like get some scratches and everything. He's the sweetest. And then we have our Lani, the only girl out of the three.
Did you DNA
She,
test them to know if they're girls or
yes,
boys?
I did DNA test
Mm.
them, and that's a painful subject. It's a different story. I'll tell you in a bit. But basically, what I found out is that the girl is the most naughtiest out of the three. She is
Oh,
literally a destroyer. Everything that she gets, she literally destroys it. And she doesn't like scratches. She doesn't like to be touched. She doesn't like cuddles. And yeah, she's like that. I'm not forcing it to her. I mean,
yeah,
when she's curious, she's going to come and she's want to like interact with you. She likes when I sing to her and talk to her. I can see that she likes it, but she doesn't like to be petted and everything. And that's okay. I mean, you need to understand that like every single person, every bird has personality and they have preferences, and you need to respect those and not
Mhm.
force it on the bird to be cuddly or to be
Yeah,
whatever you wish it to be. It doesn't work this way. It's like with a
exactly.
partner. You can't force your partner to be something. They can probably change, but they're not going to enjoy. So you need to find like
Yeah. I
to
love that you
understand that.
mentioned that you raised them all the same. They were, on the same diet in the same household, and they all have different personalities, and you can tell how different they are personality wise. And that loops
Yeah.
it back to the beginning when we were talking about how each animal has a soul. They are a being. And when we take on pets, we are taking on a living being that has a soul and has all of these care requirements, and they are now our responsibility. And as responsible pet owners, we need to learn as much as we can and give them the best life that we can, because they're the best.
They are, they are the best. And yes, you're absolutely right that they are beings. They have souls, they have feelings. So always remember that when getting a pet. Never treat them as just, oh, that's a pet. It's not just a pet. It's like a personality. It's a thing, not thing. It's like a living thing that has personality, feelings, and everything.
It's not just a bird. It is my feather baby. It is my best friend. It is my responsibility. It is my little soulmate. And yeah, it's
Exactly.
just important to remember that.
Oh, it's absolutely important. Yes, that's true.
Really quickly, going back to Humus, I wanted to ask you, how did you find him? So if someone is, because you're in the UK, and you
Yeah.
found him in Germany, and I remember we
Yeah.
chatted a little bit about that in our DMs about how you drove over there to go get him. If someone is in Europe or anywhere in the world and they're like, I want to find a rescue bird or like a really good rescue that has birds looking for a good home, how can I find them? How did you find them?
You can always like search. It's the thing is in the
Google.
UK, Google exactly. It's complicated here in the UK. There are, of course, rescues, bird rescues, but the whole process is super complicated, and unfortunately, it's not very user friendly. At that time, also there weren't any birds that I could rescue in the UK. Not nothing suitable for the case. But yes, I found that shelter in Germany, which was recommended by a friend of mine in Germany. And she actually said that they have birds as well. I can take a look. And because I was traveling for work to Germany, I actually like
Oh,
looked
that's
them up.
perfect.
Yes, exactly. I looked them up. I saw Humus, and it all just worked out. But
Yeah.
the thing is, you can do it. If you find a bird abroad, you can always like rescue it from there and bring it back with you home. It's not impossible. I mean, I know people who've done it with dogs. It's same with birds, even a bit more simple because you need less documentation with birds,
Well,
at
it
least at
depends,
that
because
point.
if it's
It depends.
international, then you have to get CITES paperwork and all this stuff. That's why I was asking. because I know that if you're traveling internationally, it's like you have to wait 6 months even to get the paperwork done. You have to get like export CITES, import CITES, vet certificates, and all this stuff. So,
Yes.
but I think that if you're within Europe, like you're on the continent and you can drive, or maybe like in Europe, there's the EU, maybe within the EU, the regulations are different, but it's not
Yeah,
impossible.
it's not impossible. I think UK at that point, I don't remember. I think it was still in the EU at that point, so
So
it
maybe it
was
was even
easier.
easier.
Yeah, nowadays I think it might be a bit more harder. I haven't checked the docs yet to what needs to be done, but
Yeah.
it's a good point. I think before traveling anywhere with your pets, just check like a good amount of time before that, like six,
Yeah.
7, 8 months before, just to make sure that you have all the papers. You don't want to get into a situation where you're either turned around or your pet is taken for quarantine. That's
Mhm.
heartbreaking. You want to avoid that.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
you also have to make sure that the paperwork is done right because, it
true.
happened to us with Mango, and we were kind of in such a tight pickle and we're like, what do we do? And then we were promised that he would be with us within a couple of weeks, and then things kept changing, and then our paperwork expired, and it was all because there was a signature missing in one spot on the paperwork. And so
Yep.
like you have to do the research and make sure that you've got all the proper paperwork, but then you have to review the paperwork. And sometimes, like, especially if it's your first time, you can even get it wrong. So, yeah, it takes a lot of attention to detail and research and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And don't trust that other people know what they're doing, even if they're vets and everything. Check it yourself.
Even if you're looking for a rescue, sometimes when we Google, we have to do like extensive research on that rescue that we find on Google, because there's a
True.
lot of ones out there that aren't like ethical or good, or they're trying to trick people or they're scamming people. So if you have a recommendation from a friend, or even if you go into a Facebook group and ask for recommendations, usually I feel like that's the best way when you get recommendations. That's also how we found our breeder, through recommendations asking in Facebook groups, and we found like the best breeder. I love her. She's amazing.
Oh, that's really great. But I absolutely agree with you. You need to do the research, ask people, as many people as possible. Also, review the bad reviews as well. They can be scam, they can be true. Review them. And when you visit, it's important to actually visit first and see yourself. Like, you're going to have this inner feeling whether something is wrong and whether something's wrong. And don't let your excitement just like I don't know, like, avoid that feeling. Just make sure that you understand why you feel something is wrong. Try to understand, try to work on it. And then if you feel that that's the right place, that's okay. Actually, that's a very uh good home, not home, but yeah, I meant
Rescue center.
rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah, rescue center. Then yes, definitely. You go for it. But yeah, always also trust your feelings and make sure they are all right. You don't want to get a sick bird home and
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, without your knowing that, and potentially gets your other birds or other pets ill as well, or lose the bird very early and break your heart. That's not
Yeah.
what you want.
Yeah. It's been so much fun chatting with you, and I love all of the insight that you've been sharing with us. So, thank you so much for jumping on with me. I'm so excited to share this episode with everybody. And you've shared so much inspiring and amazing stuff. And it's just way too easy to talk about bird things when you're a bird mom. So, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. And yeah, thanks for everything. Always remember that birds are our children and birds deserve the best. That's what they deserve. Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Parrot Podcast by Poodles and Parrots. I'm your host, Sandra, and I'll see you guys, or you'll hear me in the next episode.